It fries all microelectronics. That means there will be no more computers. Your car is full of them. There will be no more electricity.
That's a former U.S. congressman who spent years warning that a single event could take down the whole grid. We sat down with him, and what he said about your home, even if you've got your own power, is the part worth bracing for. Let me show you. So let's start simple. What is an EMP really? We're not going to take my word for it. A few years back, we got to interview the man who knew this threat better than just about anybody in Washington, Roscoe Bartlett. 10 terms in Congress, a scientist, and the one who sponsored the legislation that created our nation's EMP Commission. Here's how he explained it.
There is a phenomenon very well known to people who plan wars and build weapons that the average citizen may not know about, and that is called EMP, electromagnetic pulse. It's produced various ways, but the most widespread pulse would be produced by a nuclear weapon detonated above the atmosphere. Our country has only one experience with that. This was in 1962, I believe it was, over Johnston Island, and we had an extra atmospheric burst. The weapon was detonated above the atmosphere, and this produced a surprising consequence. There was a huge flow of what today are called Compton electrons, and it was like a huge solar flare, orders of magnitude stronger than a solar flare, like really strong static electricity everywhere all at once. Another way of thinking about it is like a lightning strike everywhere.
Nick has spent years digging into this, and he's good at putting it in plain English because that one word, EMP, actually hides 3 very different kinds of pulse, and the differences matter more than you'd guess.
It's a short burst of electromagnetic energy, but a EMP may be from a solar geomagnetic storm, or it could be from man-made weapons like nuclear blast or perhaps even other weapons that can produce EMPs. And a nuclear EMP consists of 3 separate types of pulses. There's E1, E2, and E3. A solar storm or a geomagnetic storm generally only contains one type of these, and that's E3. It's the nuclear EMP that has all 3 of these, and that's part of what makes it so nasty.
Now, the second you hear the word EMP, a little voice says, "That's science fiction." Honestly, I felt the same way. But this has already happened more than once, and it didn't take a bomb.
The largest was the so-called Carrington event in 1859, when the storm was so intense that it disrupted telegraph lines. It sent sparks flying. Do you remember the 1989 solar storm that knocked out Quebec's power and left 6 million people in the dark? The Quebec power grid went from normal operation to complete collapse in 92 seconds.
And it's not just history. The people whose whole job is calculating risk, the insurance world, they've run the numbers on this already.
The total U.S. population at risk of extended power outage from a Carrington-level storm is between 20 to 40 million, with duration of 16 days to 1 to 2 years. The duration of outages will depend largely on the availability of spare replacement transformers. If new transformers need to be ordered, the lead time is likely to be a minimum of 5 months.
Okay, but the grid always bounces back, right? A few hours, maybe a couple of days, and then the lights are on again. That one assumption is where families get caught flat-footed. Listen to what Roscoe told us.
If when the power grid went down, some of our large transformers were destroyed, damaged beyond use. We don't make any of those in this country. They're made overseas, and you order one, and 18 months to 2 years later, they will deliver it. Our power grid is very vulnerable. By the way, the EMP Commission ended up spending most of their time looking at the civil infrastructure. They were to focus originally on what it would mean to our military, the EMP laydown, but they were just so stricken with the potential vulnerability of our grid. They likened it to a big house of cards that would just come tumbling down.
I want to pause here because this is the exact spot we watch good families freeze up. You feel how big this is, and you don't know where to start. So the whole thing just sits on the to-do list for another year. That's why we're doing something about it this week. This Thursday, Nick and I are hosting a free live class, How to Make Your Home Grid Down Ready, even if you're in town. We'll walk you through the 4 systems that actually keep your family safe when the power's gone, and you'll leave with one clear next step for your home. It's free, it's live. Save your spot, then come right back, because the next part is one I really don't want you to miss. When folks hear EMP, they jump straight to one thing: protect my stuff, shield the electronics, harden the solar, and honestly, that instinct makes sense. But there's a trap hiding inside of it. Here's what Nick says about that.
As you can see, the EMP issue is much bigger than just simply shielding your stuff. Your car, your electronics, your solar system, these kind of things. Even if everything that you own is undamaged, your life will be dramatically impacted if the critical infrastructure like the power grid or transportation is damaged or shut down. Yes, you heard me right. Even if you have your own off-grid solar system, your life would be incredibly affected if everyone else lost their power.
In our large cities, there's about 3 days supply of food. Now, those supermarket shelves may look really full, and they are, because when you're taking it off, the clerks are stocking the shelves. And if they didn't stock the shelves just at the rate that you take it off without a panic, all those shelves would be empty in about 3 days, because the trucks need to keep running to keep those shelves full. What if the trucks didn't run?
3 days. That's the cushion the whole country runs on. So the real goal here is getting your family to where you don't need that grocery line at all. That's the shift that Nick wants you to make.
I'm just trying to shoot straight with you and give you a dose of reality. Sure, protecting your stuff from damage is very important. I'm all for that. Many of our important household items would not function without power. So let's keep the homestead running for sure. We need that water and other things that may depend on our power system. But I just want you to realize the bigger implications of an EMP. This is much bigger than just you. So while I do believe it's a good idea to prepare for an EMP, the bigger issue is getting your family into a more self-reliant lifestyle that doesn't depend on the system for your next meal or drink of water or for warmth in the winter.
So where do you actually put your energy? You start with what your family truly can't live without.
So what are the basic necessities of life? We're talking things like water, food, and heat or shelter. These are the basic necessities that we cannot live without. And you'll notice that power is not on this list. There is no silver bullet, or shall I say solar bullet, that's going to miraculously extricate us from this huge web of dependence that we've fallen into. There are a number of things that we need to look at, and power is just one of those things.
And you build it one layer at a time, one backup at a time. Take water. This is exactly what I mean. You like to build redundancy in everything. So even if you are off the grid and you have a well, put a hand pump on it.
That's right. Think of this as insurance. Insurance is something that we pay money for, hoping that we never need to use.
That's right.
And that's what this kind of thing is, like the hand pump. Think of that as insurance. The other stuff, though, I think it's great to, as much as possible, incorporate independent lifestyle into your everyday lifestyle, though. But there are certain things like that it's, you just chalk it up as insurance and hope you never need it.
Now, maybe you do have solar or a generator and you're thinking, Lisa, I still want to protect what I've actually got. Well, good. You should. Just know what you're up against first.
A power company may have thousands of miles of electrical wire strung out all over creation, and that can act as a massive antenna. In other words, anything that is connected to the power grid will probably be affected and will be much harder to protect. Too many people are overthinking something that is so variable and unpredictable. Sometimes the more variables you have, the simpler your strategy needs to be, especially when you don't have a massive amount of resources to throw at it, like the military has. So, maybe the military can do really elaborate protection strategies that'll work well for them. But for ordinary folks like you and me, I think the best thing is to keep it super simple.
His whole strategy comes down to a few simple moves, and the one I'd never skip is almost laughably low-tech.
So once you have the spares, I would suggest getting a metal galvanized trash can with a lid, line it with cardboard or something non-conductive. Some people say you don't have to do that, but it sure makes me feel better. Place your spare components inside the trash can, put the lid on it, and then seal it with aluminum tape. And small-scale tests seem to indicate that the trash can would be far less effective if you didn't seal the lid with aluminum tape or some sort of metal tape like that. And then I'd like to see you put that trash can down in your basement or in a metal garage or something like that to add some additional protection. And honestly, just the fact that those components are not hooked up to any external wires are going to help tremendously to save them.
The grid is more fragile than any of us would like to admit, and real peace of mind comes from needing the system less. Your water, your heat, your food, your power, so that whatever comes, your family stays steady. That's the whole reason we're opening up this free class on Thursday. We'll help you find your weakest link and walk out with the one real step that you can take this week. Whether you're on 100 acres or renting an apartment in town, save your seat, because a year from now, you'll either have a real plan in place or you'll still be meaning to get to it.
My prayer is that there will never be an EMP, as it could be devastating. So while I'm praying for the best, I'm preparing for the worst. And then I'm leaving the rest in God's hands.
Prepare for the worst, hope for the best, and leave the rest in His hands. We'll see you on Thursday.